All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to True Crime Loser. I hope you're doing well. So, today we're going to talk about the Kim Jong Un health situation story. And I've been following it for about a week, and it's been a roller coaster. But I'm going to start at the beginning to make sure we're all on the same page. So, like I said, about a week ago, a couple news outlets put out stories that Kim Jong Un could possibly be in grave health condition following some sort of heart surgery that didn't go great. And the stories leading up to the heart surgery, what caused the heart surgery that didn't go great, one I heard was he was out with a film crew and they were trying to get footage of him looking strong and powerful and healthy, riding a big giant white horse in the snow, and he essentially had a heart attack doing it. Which, there's something funny about like a North Korean film crew tasked with making an immeasurably unhealthy man look strong and healthy, and they're filming him and he's up on the big white horse and everyone's in the snow out in the forest. Like, okay, look, it's looking great, Mr. Leader. Please don't kill my entire family. The footage is looking good. And then he just does the classic cartoon, like slides off the horse and keels over. I guess some relevant health information before we get too far into this is Kim Jong-un is 5'7", 300 pounds, can barely walk, chain smokes, the whole 9 yards. But 5'7", 300, he's built like a meatball. Even his head since 2014 has grown 3 sizes. Not just his cheeks and stuff, but his skull. The last time he's seen in public, he's sitting in this government meeting, and he just looks fat and bored with an enormous head, and he's red, and he looks like at any moment he's just going to order everyone to be killed. Just everyone in here because I'm bored. Maybe if he was a UFC fighter or a boxer, that could be his nickname. Just imagine the announcer being like, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5'7" and weighing in at a staggering 300 pounds. A horrifying fighter that's literally killed a good portion of his own family. Kim, the Korean meatball Jong-un. And his little fat arms, he's like. But, yeah, it's, and then the second story that may have led to needing the heart surgery that didn't go great was that they were testing a missile, which they like to do, and I guess the noise of it or the vibration or something almost killed him. So you're sitting there, he's got his big binoculars out and all his handlers behind him. Once the missile goes up, they all cheer. Oh, yeah, it's great. We're so powerful and strong and healthy. And just the sound of it almost killed him. Okay, so those are the 2 stories. And so that all comes out first couple days. And then South Korea, who I trust probably more than anything about info with North Korea because they're right there and they got a lot riding on instability with the country and the whole 9 yards. So they kind of came out and were like, I don't know if there's any validity to that he's in a grave health condition. We haven't heard any of that information. And maybe it was just a routine surgery and he's not in grave health condition. And so the story hit a bit of a wall. Some things that I don't know if support that, though, is you're not going to do just a normal routine surgery mid-global pandemic. I think most non-emergency surgeries during this time are probably being pushed off a couple months. The second thought is maybe he's scared that he has or that he will get COVID, and so he just is quarantining himself far away. In recent pictures of Pyongyang, everyone's wearing masks, and also in recent pictures of the missile test where he may have hurt his heart shooting off a missile. all the people behind him are wearing masks. And remember, being 5'7", 300 pounds with a heart condition and a chain smoker doesn't give yourself the best chance to beat COVID. Okay. So then, after a few days of, all right, maybe there isn't any validity to it, a whole nother round of news stories came out that were like, no, this could be it. He might be dead. Which you don't normally get stories where it's like either he's fine or he's dead. His head is enormous either way, but there's no in between on this one. He's either dead or fine. And I think what brought back the rumors of maybe something is going on is he had 3 doctors that had done either worked on his surgery or were, if he did have surgery, or were nursing him back to health after it. They left where he was. So everyone was like, oh, maybe everything is going great. And then 3 doctors from China came over to North Korea, and so that spurred the whole, maybe this is sort of a thing. And one story that I had never really known the whole story about how he assassinated his brother Kim Jong Nam, and just doing a bit of a deep dive into North Korea during this week following this story. I got all learned up on that story. So I'm going to share that just to get us into the Kim family dynasty, the way they treat each other. So he has a half-brother named Kim Jong Nam who had no political aspirations, didn't live in North Korea, and 3.5 years ago, he had started telling his friends, I'm scared that I'm going to be assassinated. My half-brother Kim Jong-un's a fat psycho, with a giant head. Look at that head. You can't trust it. And he was saying that he's worried. And then, so 3 years ago at a Malaysian airport, Kim Jong-nam is walking through, and a young woman came up to him from behind, reached around, and just smeared with a cloth liquid all over his face. Which, I mean, can you imagine? You're just being at an airport's tough enough. You're sitting there like, oh man, I got to kill 2 hours. We shouldn't have got here early. I hate getting here this early. And then all of a sudden, from behind, some lady smears a bunch of stuff on you, and then he instantly knew. It's just scary. He instantly went up. There's even rumors that he had an antidote for VX nerve agent that he would carry around with him. I don't know if he had it on this day, but he knew. He had told friends, I think I'm going to be killed by this nerve agent I've been carrying around. And so he immediately went up to airport security and is like, probably said, I'm Kim Jong-nam. This lady just rubbed goop all over my face, and there's this security camera footage of him like frantically going up to the airport employees. You can tell that you can't hear it, but he's telling them the story, and you could tell the part of the story even though you can't hear it, because at a certain point both people he talks to takes a step back, like ugh. And one of the reasons I told this story is because so they catch the 2 women that were a part of actually like smearing it on. They were like, what are you guys, assassins or whatever it is? And you know what excuse they used? They used the old Dalia Dippolito, it was a script. They used the old, it was a script excuse. So they said it was a script from like a reality TV show, which may be the only thing that could support that. Is 2 weeks earlier, it shows the same woman, which maybe they were just making sure this piece of footage existed to help their story, but it shows the same woman, the same thing, coming up behind someone at the airport and like touching their face. What I think goes against the fact that they're just innocent reality TV shows that were coerced by North Korean assassins into doing this is, if they came up to you, wouldn't you be like, what's the bit? I don't get the bit. So I'm I'm going to rub this guy's face with some foreign liquid goop stuff. He's going to turn around and sock me in the face. What's the joke? There's no real punchline. I'm just going to go and violate this guy. And there's nothing really that funny about just touching someone's face from behind. So you would think they would be like, all right, yeah, well, I'll be part of this reality TV show and all that's great, but why am I doing this? And so, like I said, there's a security camera footage of her walking up behind Nam, rubbing his face, and then she was wearing, which is something terrifying about it, if she is a North Korean assassin, which I don't believe that they're just innocent sex workers and it was a script and everything. I don't believe that. I think they were working with North Korea. But she was wearing, when she did it, she was wearing a white knit sweater that had red letters LOL. So there's something scary about that. Just a young, pretty female assassin wearing that shirt. And he ended up dying like an hour later away. But imagine being assassinated. You get goop rubbed in your eyes and you fall to the ground or you get shot. And the last thing you see on the planet Earth before it fades to black is just red letters saying LOL. Something horrifying about that. But so as soon as she goops it on his face and he's like, ah, and, goes for security, 4 North Koreans that were at a restaurant, which is right out of a movie, which I don't know, maybe they were there to make sure it went well, but I don't know, seems ballsy. But right when he gets face gooped, they all stand up and immediately walk and get on a plane, fly to Dubai, and then disappear in North Korea, never to be seen again. So the 4 North Koreans that were pretty much guaranteed to have a part in killing Kim Jong-nam are gone forever. The 2 suspects that they have, the 2 possibly innocent sex workers that were convinced to be a part of it because it was a script, or possibly North Korean assassins that they are making look like innocent sex workers that were going off of a script, and so they're arrested. They are not charged with murder. They were charged with doing a bad thing or causing harm, I think is what it was. And that, I think they were only sentenced to like a few number of years, so they're totally out, which is crazy. Poor guy gets face gooped in the middle of the airport with a VX nerve agent, dies a horrible death an hour later, and here we are a mere 3 years later, and nothing, there's just, no one's paying for it. It was a script, no problem, nothing to see here. And also during a deep dive, there was a big story where that came out that said Kim Jong-un possibly fed his uncle to dogs. When he took over, Kim Jong-un, I'm pretty sure, took over in 2011 when Kim Jong-il died pretty unexpectedly. And he takes over, and he's young, and he's probably not ready, and he's insecure about his skills, and so he just goes on a murder spree from hell. And one of the people he purged was his uncle, who had been in the government a while, had a bit of a following, and I think he felt really threatened. So the story was that Kim fed that guy along with his uncle, along with a number of his supporters and other people that made Kim feel like his leadership was being questioned. They fed them to hungry dogs. I think I've talked about it on the show before. And then during the research for this episode, I found an interview where the New York Times went in and interviewed, pretty sure just someone from North Korea that works for the government, where that's probably their whole job, is to go into these interviews with other countries and handle the tough questions. So it was all questions on like Otto Warmbier, like what the hell happened with that? A college kid comes down, takes off a stupid poster, is a stupid college kid, and you kill him? I mean, how does that make sense? We get it, he screwed up, but it was interesting. So they sit down, I'm pretty sure it was New York Times, and there's the translator there, and just this mean-looking North Korean guy ready to answer all the hard questions, and the journalist from America starts by being like, to the translator, okay, tell him, thank you for being here. I really appreciate these questions. And so then the translator says that to him in Korean. And then the guy says to the translator, what are we doing with all of this, pleasantries and stuff? Let's just get to it. Stop. I don't want him to say, hey, thanks for answering these questions. But that he's asking him about Otto Warmbier, which is, if you watch that press conference, probably one of the most horrifying out of everything I've talked about on this channel. Think about it. Just some dark places. That could be the scariest thing that I've talked about. The footage of Otto Warmbier's press conference where it's just total fantasy land. Nothing is real. They're making him say the Z Society, along with the American administration, made me take the poster. And it's just sad. So they asked him about that. But then they asked him about the guy that's taking the questions about Kim Jong feeding his uncle to dogs. And his response, he does like the classic laugh, like, to dogs, preposterous. Like the classic, that's just preposterous laugh. It reminded me of, in that interview, what was that interview? Anyway, it was just the preposterous, fed to dogs. No, he wasn't fed to dogs. He was shot to death. He does like the preposterous laugh, and then no. I thought it would be funny too if he was like, shit, it fed to dogs? No, of course not. And then like dog treats fall out of his suit pocket. But yeah, that story of Kim Jong-nam in the just the Malaysian airport too. There's no more filmed area, more crowded for assassination than an airport. So it's just brazen and horrifying. And okay, so regarding is Kim Jong-un dead or totally fine? It's come out then maybe a few days after there was more validity. Like, I don't know, maybe he is. Then it came out again. South Korea was saying, I don't know, we're not hearing anything about it. I think I said it already, but missing his grandfather's April 15th birthday is telling. But I guess, too, he could just be scared of the coronavirus and he's hiding out. I guess no one really knows. We're going to sit back and wait. I've been fascinated by this for the past week. The last thing I'm going to end on is I think a lot of people are looking forward to him dying because it just, and I get it, in their head they're like, okay, well, once he dies, it's going to be a lot better for the North Korean people. And hopefully it will be. Even 20% better would be huge. And I want nothing more than a brighter future for these people. But from what I can find, it's looking like it would go to his sister, the Reigns. And so maybe she would be better. Maybe she would be less horrific, maybe. I don't know. She's his right-hand man, so in order to be Kim Jong-un's right-hand man for a number of years, you got to be somewhat, I don't even know, evil or whatever it is, but it could go to his sister. She did run like their Olympics. She went to the last Olympics, so maybe she is more worldly and would open up the country a little bit, but who knows? Part of me's nervous that it would be taken over by her. And then I think some of the times it gets the worst for a lot of these cult of personality type dynasties where the people have to worship. I saw footage of Kim Jong-un come out. They did a basketball game for Americans, and some American basketball players came out, and then North Korean basketball players, they played like a scrimmage or something, and when Kim Jong-un walked out, it was like when Stalin walks out. Everyone just goes, and no one wants to be on film not clapping and not being excited, and they just start chanting, 10,000 years, 10,000 years. And also, my girlfriend and I were laughing, they're chanting 10,000 years, and it's looking like he might not even make 40. They want him to live 10,000 years, but his head is so enormous that he probably won't make 40. But I'm a little bit nervous that as these dynasties peter out and get to the brutal end, it could possibly get worse. Like, say his sister takes over, and again, maybe a military general or whatever also makes a run at power, and she's insecure because of, she wasn't ready to take over, or maybe the country doesn't feel like, they've been told for years that this strong, healthy, gonna live for 10,000 years Kim Jong-un is the answer, and all of a sudden he's gone. So hopefully for the people of North Korea and South Korea and everyone in the region, if there is a big change, it comes with as much stability as possible. But like I said, I'm fascinated by it. I hope you're doing well. I'll see you soon. I love you all. Why? Starving why? See you next time.